Welcome to the Voices of Young People podcast, brought to you by Springtide Research Institute. In each episode, we hear directly from young people as they respond to our research and share about the issues impacting their lives. As sociologists and researchers, we see a new story unfolding for young people, one that moves beyond traditional institutional boundaries and requires careful attention to the inner and outer lives of emerging generations. At the intersection of being and becoming, it's the voices of young people.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Voices of Young People podcast. My name is Marte Aboagye, and I'm the head of community engagement at Springtide. And we are in season 8. We are talking all about sacred experiences, sacred moments, just what is even your idea or definition of what's sacred? Because we have a brand new report called The State of Religion and Young People 2023, Exploring the Sacred, that has just released. And we always want to bring podcast episodes that coincide with our research findings, just to bring the data further to life through a conversation. And today's conversation is so special because we have 2 Springtide ambassadors again with us, but this one is cool because it's 2 young men. One's a teenager, one's a 20-something, but I think you're going to really enjoy hearing both of their examples and their perspectives. They live in different parts of the country. Like I said, they're different stages of life, but I think it's rare sometimes to have 2 young men talking about sacred moments in their lives. So let's hear from them. Let's have them both introduce themselves. We'll have you go first, Sam.
Hi, my name's Sam. I'm from New York City. I'm right now currently a junior in high school. I'm 17 years old. I do go to a Catholic high school. I am Catholic. One hobby I like that I picked up from my school is engineering. I am a very big with my hands. I like to be able to feel what I'm doing as a job. That's what I hope to do. I hope to do some type of job that has to do with engineering.
That's cool. See, I'm learning even things about you as we have this conversation. We've talked about sports. We've talked about other interests of yours in the past, athletics, I should say. But it's really cool to know you have this big engineering passion and focus as well. I love it. Thanks, Sam. We also have Brandon with us. Will you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Brandon C. I'm 23 years old, and I live in Indiana. And I currently work as a coordinator of strategic partnerships, or how I like to call it, the master collaborations coordinator. And it's for an initiative within a university focused on spiritual formation rooted in design thinking. I'm a Black man. I love reading and listening to music.
Lovely. Yes. You and I have geeked out on some music stuff before, Brandon. Do you want to name drop some favorites right now?
Robert Glasper. I just saw Jacob Collier.
Oh, jealous. Did he direct you in a choir like he likes to do?
Yes. And he came out into the crowd. It was mind blowing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really enjoy talking music with you. It's awesome. You're a reader as well. Okay, so we got Sam, we got Brandon. Let's get into our conversation. Just when you hear the phrase sacred or sacred experiences, I would love to hear in a few words what immediately comes to mind for each of you.
When I hear the word sacred, I think what comes to mind is just this. Well, for me, what I experience in my heart and my mind and my body is joy and warmth. Yeah, when I think about sacred, I think about all the different experiences in my life that spark different things, spark love, curiosity, but ultimately help me understand purpose and beauty. So.
Rad. I like that. Yeah. It already gets me excited to have just this question alone. If we could put all 12 of our podcast guests this season, their answers next to each other, there's just such a wide breadth of responses we're getting for what people associate with the word sacred. What would you say, Sam?
For sacred, I do agree with Brandon on the fact that it shapes you. Like the word sacred to me, I feel like sacred moments and sacred experiences are experiences that define who you are as a person. Like they help define you, who you are in life. I like to always like use example of sacred experiences to like a movie I used to watch called I forgot, it's like a Disney movie about emotions. Inside Out, that's what it's called.
Oh yeah, I love
and
that.
They have core memories. I like to think of like sacred experiences as like such things as core memories that they basically help define who you are as like a human and as a person.
Oh, this is a great example.
That's so good, bro.
Seriously, both of you alone. I'm already more excited to get into this conversation because both the definitions and just the visuals you provided are really, really compelling. I'm seeing those core memory bubble circle things from Inside Out as those defining places. Okay, so let's hear more about what is sacred to you. Are there specific things or places or people, etc., that you would say this is sacred in my life?
I would definitely say that for me, what's sacred to me would specifically always has to be like my community and my family. Like those are some things that are very sacred to me because those as people have like defined who I am as a person. They've helped shape my life and taught me like my life lessons and my core values on what my perspective on life, basically, like how I see the world.
Nice. What would you say, Brandon?
I would say that some things that make me feel sacred. This is kind of general, and then I'll probably be more specific, but anything that connects me to God or to God's people or to the people of the world. And so that looks like music feels sacred to me. Creativity feels sacred. You know, how people express creativity is really sacred to me. So an example of that is like whenever I'm going somewhere, I love seeing murals and how people interpret the world through murals and paintings. Being with people, gathering, dinners, lunches, coffee, books. Yeah, a lot of things feel really sacred to me.
That's great. Art, it sounds like, is key for you. And you both named people specifically, but it's clear to me that there's something about the everyday that can hold potential for something sacred in what you've both already described. So I'm wondering, well, what's given you that perspective? You know, are there particular identities or beliefs or practices that you can look back on in your life, or maybe they're, you know, present circumstances that you feel like, you know what, that specifically has shaped my view of what's sacred?
I would definitely say something that kind of represents my beliefs or of why I have this perspective on sacred experiences. And the word sacred would probably have to be my like religion and my faith. Like I feel like because of my Catholic upbringing, I see sacred experiences as a way of God helping show us what he wants us to do in life and how he wants us to participate in his world and how we could basically make it our own.
Cool. I like that, Sam. Thank you.
Sam, similarly to you, I feel like it's, for me, I have a couple thoughts on this. One is, the goodness of the world and how God created the world good and diverse. I think shapes how I encounter or experience sacredness.
Right.
Because I feel like sacredness can be experienced in the mundane. And then also I just had this really random memory that just popped up from when I was a kid. We would spend a lot of time with my great grandmother. And I mean, I think she died in her late 90s. So she really, really, she's lived a lot of life, but we would just do simple things like shuck corn or like sit and listen to the rain, or, you know, tend to her garden or sweep the street, the sidewalks. And it just felt really slow and really intentional. And you know, I even remember as a kid, like being aware of my thoughts in a way that I wasn't in other moments when I would do these things. And I think that also has shaped how I encounter sacred.
I love that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What a way to honor her memory, that you have these specific moments and settings that you can recall doing simple but really meaningful tasks, and the way she, you know, took you alongside her daily practices, and that there was something really sacred in that connection. You know, we found that in our research a lot, that one of the driving ways that young people were defining what's sacred involved a sense of interconnectedness. So interconnectedness could be with a relationship with someone that's significant in your life. It could be interconnectedness to all of humanity. It could be, you know, interconnectedness with a sense of the divine. That definition can stretch far, but I hear that in both of the examples you've offered. Well, I'd love to get to hear a story, an example of, you know, a significant sacred experience you've each had. So I'm wondering, Brandon, if you'll go first and just give us the full context, you know, all details welcome. If there's anything that helps give us a sense of where you were, who you were with, etc. Yeah, what's a sacred moment that's been pivotal for you?
Okay, so in 2018, or was it 2019? One of those years, 2018, I think, I did a mission school type deal. And I met a bunch of people all over the world. And a few of us lived near each other in America, near meaning like within, you know, 8 states. And we've just made a regular practice of meeting once a year, once every other year. And yeah, these friends feel like family. And so the moment I'm thinking about was in the fall, we all decided to gather at a friend's house in Chicago, Illinois. And it was just this really simple moment on a Saturday morning. We all woke up, we went to the store, got groceries, came back, and we just cooked together. It was just this really special, yeah, we just made food. We were making food, music was playing in the background. You could hear the bacon sizzling on the pan. You know, you could hear the coffee dripping into the cups, and we were laughing, talking, and I just felt this like deep inner peace in my heart. And it just, I knew that was exactly where I was supposed to be. And I think that's what makes it sacred, is it felt so right in the moment. And yeah, we were super connected. We were laughing. I have this value, and I call it remember when. And it's this idea. I just value memories with people, and connectedness. Like, you know, remember when we did this, remember when we did that. And that was like the entire day was just reminiscing over stories and crying a lot, you know. So yeah, that's a really special memory to me.
Wow. I mean, it's clear you've shared some really significant life with those folks, that you have so many remember when moments to hearken back to. But I got to know what meal you were making. What were y'all cooking?
It was breakfast. So it was like, you know, it's funny, like, so some of us are vegan, some of us are vegetarian, some of us are only carnivores.
Sure.
So it was a big myriad of like what's the word? Myriad.
You got it.
A myriad of like bacon, turkey bacon, regular bacon, pancakes, vegan pancakes, we had like 7 or 8 different types of fruits and, celery, carrots, hummus. And we're all
for breakfast even. Love it.
We're all from different cultures. So it was just
sure.
Rice and, like just everything. It was, so it wasn't one meal. It was technically breakfast, but it felt like I was eating like buffet food or something.
Totally. Oh,
Sounds like a buffet.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's just an extra cool detail to know, because it sounds like there was a lot of intentionality and specificity of being like, this is who this person is. We want to honor, the way they eat, the foods that will be important or celebratory for them. I love that.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you have these relationships that have, it sounds like, been so influential for you that you can come back together, that you can return. Do you have an annual meeting happening this year? Like, is there something
it's so sad
on the books?
No, there's no annual meeting this year. So this is the year where everyone's having babies and stuff. So unless someone's getting married soon.
Sure. Those are often the excuse to have a reunion. Yeah.
That's kind of been the last 2 years, has been the, wedding reunion.
Totally.
Right.
Well, I mean, just the fact that moment, it struck you, it sounds like, while you were there, because some stories I hear, people later on go, oh my gosh, that was so significant. I felt so, particular in that place and time, but it hits them after. You knew then and there, like you said,
it almost was like, the sun shining on my face, the time slowed, the voices went in the background, and I just heard.
It's a blur screen.
Yeah.
We're seeing the movie scene. Sam and I both, we see everything else slows down around you, and you have this moment of deep thought or recollection. I mean,
it did. I had a tear fall down my eye too.
You said there was lots of crying happening that
There
day
was a
too.
lot of crying.
But yeah, just so much sharing, community, food, being together. That's cool. I think so far in recording these episodes, that's the first type of vignette I've heard that has those tones of a meal shared or preparing the meal. It wasn't even eating the meal necessarily. It was the cooking happening. It'll be cool for when this releases. You'll have to send it out to your people so they can remember. They can go remember when we were all cooking together and Brandon had a sacred moment.
They're talking about, or I'm curious if they'll remember which memory it is.
Yeah, maybe it struck some of them in the same way, or just the reminder of it will be like I said, those remember wins that you were describing. Well, thank you for bringing that story. I'd love to hear yours, Sam. What sacred experience stands out for you that you can give us the full details on?
I've had probably many sacred experiences in my life, and sadly, you have a point where there are some that you had when you were younger that you can't remember. But my most recent one that I think had a very big impact on me was last year, around March. It was around March, like end of March, beginning of April. My old friend from school, he messaged me one day because I remember we always hung out at school, and he was a part of my track team last year. But sadly, his parents made him quit because they didn't want him to do it because of some personal issues. But I stopped. I started seeing him less and less. But I remember one day out of the blue, he hit me up saying, "Hey, remember that comic book store you brought up like forever ago?" He's like, "I'm free. You want to go today?" I was like, "Oh yeah, sure. Let's go today." And so I get ready, I get on. And one great thing about living in New York City is since you can travel by yourself, you also can meet people on the train by yourself. And one thing that connected both me and him and why we were such good friends was we took the 6 train together, and we realized we hopped on similar trains. So all we had to do was just go to one cart together and we would see each other. So we would always go to the back last cart of the 6 train, and I would always run into him. And so I remember leaving that day from my house, and my mom was telling me, "Oh, by the way, there's a chance it may snow. Be careful." I'm like, "Mom, it says that right now it's like 50 50 degrees. It's not going to snow. If anything, I'll just bring a sweater and sweatpants and shoes and I'll just be fine. I get outside, I walk right to the train station. It starts snowing. I don't know how it happened, but it just dropped that suddenly. And so we got off the train, and it turns out he invited his he invited his boyfriend and some of his boyfriend's friends to come with us, and we were waiting for them to pop out of nowhere. And it was such a fun moment where he's very energetic. He was very much like me, and he started randomly running around the Union Square, started just jumping up and just eating snowflakes out of the air just because he could. And then we had a moment where there was enough snow on a trash can where I was like, let's try to capture like a moment where you just blow the snow, and I just have it captured. And so we had like 7 different photos, and I think I got one that was really nice. And then finally, when his friends got there, we went to the store for a little bit, and then we went to go get food. And one of his friends, my best icebreakers is I'm from the circus. That's one of my favorite things to always say if the conversation ever gets like a little too dry. And so they asked what I did, and I said I did handstands, and they're like, prove it. So in the middle of a Shake Shack, I just started randomly do handstands, and I remember I walked, and it got to the point where I was with a random stranger, and I just said to the random stranger, while in a handstand, can you please open the door for me? So he had to open the door while I was still in a handstand, and I just walked out the door. And I remember we were having so much fun with them that it got so late, and we didn't even realize how late it got until my mom texted me, it's 10 o'clock at night, get home. And I was like, oh, great, I got to get home. I didn't realize we were out for almost practically the whole day. And it was just it was a so real moment for me, because sadly, that was one of the last memories I will have with my friend. And it was such a great memory that I think I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And it reminded me, no matter what I do in life, you need to pause and take a minute and spend time with those close friends and family and recognize those moments, because you may not know when you'll have them again.
That is beautiful. Man, you guys are good storytellers. I'm like in the kitchen cooking with Brandon. I'm like in Union Square Park with you, Sam, like seeing the random snowstorm, and like y'all just paint a nice picture. Okay, for those who don't know, I have witnessed these handstands. I've seen with my own eyes in person when I got to meet up with Sam for a Gen Z panel that he and another SAT member spoke on. I was kind of like, prove it as well. And he did. He didn't just do a handstand. He walked across the room and on his hands. It was cool.
Whoa.
But
it was funny too, because everyone who was around us didn't know what was happening, because it was just us at that table. So then randomly, all they saw was just me walking one way, and everyone in just the room when we were eating just stopped and just watched, and we were like, what is he doing?
It was funny because it was a meal. It was a lunchtime, and people weren't expecting to have, a circus act happen at the same time, but it was cool. So, I mean, I got to ask, did you guys make it to the comic store? Did you even end up there?
We went. And then what was funny about it is we looked around, and then we just were like, you know what? His friends are here. Let's go meet up with his friends at food, because I'm starving right now. Because I was really hungry, and I was like, we got to go get some food. He's like, yeah, you're right. So we went and got food.
I mean, is that when you ended up at Shake Shack?
Yes.
Nice. So, I mean, it just seems like you have what our report calls a sacred sensibility, in the sense that you have eyes to notice sacred moments that can surprise you, but still you're like attuned in a certain way. You're paying attention, because other people would just be like, oh, it's so random. It snowed and we played around in the park, and then we realized we needed to eat, and then it got late and we went home. And that would still be like a cool story. But the fact that you're like, that was a sacred moment for me. Even the fact that you're able to like find each other on the last car of the 6 train, you're playing around, you're waiting for his boyfriend and friends to show up at the park. You're taking pictures. So there's that element of like art as well, just enjoying nature, enjoying community friendships. I think that's really tremendous that you you're 17, right, Sam?
Yeah, I'm 17.
Yeah, a 17-year-old high school student is like this was a sacred moment for me. I think people listening to this episode will be like, no matter what their age is, frankly, that they'll be like, I want to have moments like that where you look around and you're like,
this is the picture I got. This was the closest we got to getting it. It was super hard to do it. The snow was barely on it, but like we got it to a point where we blew, and it's hard to see the particles around it because this is over a screen. But like,
I love it. We're on video and audio recording this podcast episode, so Brandon and I can see the picture that Sam's holding up. But yeah, it's definitely artistic. Maybe you got some photography skills I didn't know about as well. But that's just so cool that both of your stories, interestingly enough, I didn't know what your stories were going to be until we hit record, since I didn't hear them in advance, but they both are about the people you're with. And they're both just like normal-ish days, but they're sacred. I love that. Yeah, Brandon, I'd love to hear a question.
Sorry, I just talked over you. I didn't.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I think that my internet's just slightly lagged behind.
No worries.
So I think I'm just constantly. So just tell me to shut up.
You're good.
Okay, Sam, what did that feel like in your body, the sacredness when you were there?
Good question.
So like, it felt just like, I know how you describe sacred experience. You described it as like joy. And so like when I was there, I remember at first when we messed on the train car, I just thought it was like an everyday thing because I always took the train within the school that way. We'd always wait with each other, go to the last cart. So I just thought it was like an average day. And when we started snowing, and I'm like, okay, well now it's freezing cold around the snow. I don't know what to do. I'm like, okay, let me see if we can find a place to like sit down and maybe eat or watch a movie while we're waiting. I turn around, my friend's not there. And I think at that moment where I just saw him jumping up and down trying to eat snowflakes, I had like a sense of just laughter and silliness, just like a feeling in my heart, like this is hilarious, and like a feeling of just happiness. Like I'm so glad I'm doing this right now, and just not at home sitting down by myself. I'm loved that I actually chose to do this.
So good.
I think it's really cool that you both have described joy in your earlier definitions, and then it came out in the stories with your friends, with your people. I don't know if you all remember, because we've talked about it in other SAT meetings, but the definition we've been using for sacred in all of our Springtide reports and research is an experience of awe, wonder, gratitude, deep truth, and or interconnectedness. So I already mentioned the interconnectedness piece, but that sense of awe, it sounds like that is really in your story, Sam, and yours too, Brandon, frankly, where you're just like, you said everything slowed down around you and you're able to like take it in a different way. That sounds like awe to me. I don't know if that resonates for you, but I hear joy and awe for both of you.
You know, I wrote this down halfway through Sam's story sharing, because I couldn't figure out what the word was that I experienced. Like, yes, it was sacred, but I wanted to like find another word. And I was thinking about that Greek word koinonia. You ever heard that term?
Isn't that community? And
fellowship, right? But then I was like, no, like I think I felt complete. Like I felt complete in that moment.
Interesting.
Like a sense of completeness.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with Brandon on that part. Like just in those moments, you feel like this is it. This is what you wanted. This is where you want to be. Like this moment is where you want to be. Like you feel nothing's missing. You feel like he said, complete. You feel whole.
Yeah, I feel like I heard from both of you a phrase similar-ish to, this is exactly where I needed to be in the world. At that moment, you just had that sense. There's something really interesting. This is the 4th of 6 total episodes I'm recording, and I don't know, but why? But in each episode, without planning it, the 2 stories that are shared have some sort of symmetry to them, have some sort of parallel that I'm like waiting for it to not happen yet for episodes 5 and 6. But so far, it's been really stunning to see really different contexts really different settings, different life stages often, but there's something where different young people are able to identify a sacred moment that just has some symmetry to their peer. So thank you again for both sharing those stories. I'm wondering, because both of your stories were, moments that could be any day. It could be another friend moment, Brandon. It could be another, random meetup with schoolmates. Sam, do you think if your life had more of those kind of sacred moments, that you'd be impacted in any particular way?
Yes.
What would the impact be?
The impact would be, I feel like the phrase that came to me was, I think I would learn to love more, better, and more.
Okay.
Yeah, ultimately it would just make me more of a person, more of a better person, or maybe not more of a person, but more of a person who loves others well. It's probably the best way to say it.
I mean, you use the word complete, that you felt complete. And so when you say more of a person, initially I hear just that there's a fullness. There's a fullness to who you are. And the way you're describing that fullness is to love more fully. That would happen with more sacred moments. That's cool to hear. Do you feel like your life would be impacted any particular way, Sam, if you had more of these type of sacred moments?
For me, I look at it a little bit differently. I feel like what makes sacred moments special to me is like that you will have them many times throughout your life, but you don't know when they're coming or when they're expected. So I feel like having too many may be a detriment to them personally, because, for me, it would take away from, for me, what made my moment so special is the fact that it's such a cute moment and that I didn't force it and I didn't expect it to happen. And I do feel like if they kept happening more often, more frequent, I wouldn't appreciate that memory as much. I do see Brandon's point, and I do agree it would help me love more, but I also feel like at the same time, having a good balance between sacred moments and non-sacred moments help like with life itself. Because as much as we like to wish we would love to feel full at all the times, we won't always be able to, and we'd be put in moments that are hard. And I feel like in those moments, we can look for those sacred memories to like give us hope. But like we also, I'm trying to think about how to like describe it. But I feel like having moments where it's not sacred at all, it's just moments that need to happen. It will make those sacred moments better in a way.
I get what you're saying. And I think that perspective is really helpful to be like, there's something so significant about the moments I'm able to identify as sacred that the rarity of them makes it extra special, is what I'm hearing. All right. Well, this is, did you want to jump in with that, Brandon?
I did want to jump in. I think that the sacred moments is fuel for sustaining struggle.
Right.
But also that struggle can be sacred for some.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the stories I've already heard in this season definitely surround hardship or grief or struggle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
found
do
that in
agree
our
with
research that there can be like a deep emotional state in either direction. Like it can be deep grief and people are naming something sacred in a place of deep grief, or it can be a place of, deep joy. And both of your stories, I think, more on the joy side. But I appreciate the acknowledgement that you recognize that the hardship doesn't mean it's necessarily devoid of a sacred moment either.
No, I do agree with Brandon on that. Like, just because it is sad doesn't mean it can't be sacred at the same time. Because, like we said before, sacred experiences are stuff that shape you and define you, and definitely loss and hardship do help define people.
Yes, those core memories that you were saying before, those core sacred moments, they can come in many, many different shapes. But both of your stories are going to sit with me even after we wrap up today's conversation. I really appreciate you sharing them. Is there any last thing you want to make sure folks here, really anyone listening to know, hey, these are ways I can help other young people in my own sphere experience the sacred?
I guess the best way I would describe it is don't try to force sacred moments, because that will not make them special. Like, just I say being there for someone and trying to help them best you can, and realizing ways you can help them in itself can cause a sacred moment, and you trying to force it won't really help them that much. I feel like you need to allow it to come naturally, because trying to force a sacred experience or sacred moment will cause it to be worse, and you won't have the same feeling that you would have if it came unexpected.
That's cool. That's helpful to hear. Thanks, Sam. Would you have anything you want to offer in that regard, Brandon?
Not really. This has just been so good. This was a great, juicy conversation. Thanks.
I agree. I so enjoy both of you. Really grateful to have you in SAP, our Springtide Ambassadors program. Thank you again for sharing today. And we still have a few more episodes in season 8 of the Voices of Young People podcast. So stay tuned for more stories about sacred experiences from youth and young adults. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Brandon. Visit springtideresearch.org to hear more voices of young people and to learn about the latest research and resources available, along with the State of Religion and Young People 2023, Exploring the Sacred. Springtide Research Institute is dedicated to listening to young people and sharing critical research and actionable insights from what we learn. Visit our website to find ways to support our work and discover ways that we can support yours. Be sure to follow us on social media at We Are Springtide and join the conversation by using the hashtag Exploring the Sacred. Today's show was produced by Marte Aboagye. The audio was mixed by Andy Palmer with original music created by student Christian Unthink. Special thanks to the 12 guests featured in season 8 and to all the young people whose perspectives and insights make our research possible. Thanks for listening.